Hey guys, it's been a while since I did any sort of video commentary. Reason for that, well, long story short, is that there have been quite a few changes in my life, and I got married this summer, and my daughter is about to celebrate her second birthday within a couple of weeks, end of November. So all this means that in the meantime I became a family man, and focus has been shifted towards family quite a while recently. That of course doesn't mean that I'm not doing any video gaming and stuff like that. Actually pretty much do same amount of gaming, especially in terms of Mortal Kombat, that I used to do it, just at different times. I would say when everyone is asleep, I'm always sneaking out during the midnight to catch a couple of hours of gameplay before going to work. But this new setup completely prevented me from doing any sort of commentaries at home. So I just thought that until I have better facilities to do these kind of videos, I would just essentially try to use the time that's available for myself only. That's the time that I'm spending in the car, traveling to places. Right now I'm going to my usual Monday night trip to play football, or soccer as you might call it in the US. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about now is Mortal Kombat 10 or Mortal Kombat X. The game has been more or less been revealed throughout the summer, and I wanted to do just share a couple of my thoughts about it, or do some sort of analysis about what's been shown so far, but I didn't really have the time to do it, so I just thought I would make up for it now and talk about a bit of Mortal Kombat 10, what I've seen or what I think about it so far. Well, I must say that after Mortal Kombat 9 and the direction that they have taken, I was expecting something different along the lines, and by different I was hoping to see kind of like the same as we had in the previous game. Mortal Kombat X or 10 seems to be putting up pretty much with the same graphics, just with a bit more updated textures and an overall better graphics. Story-wise, after Mortal Kombat 9, I would have expected that they would be going after a story of Mortal Kombat 4 in some shape or form, which actually might happen. So at the moment all we know is that the story is supposed to take place in the future. I believe it was said that it's like, I don't know, 10 or 20 years ahead into the future, and so who knows, it might be still in some ways connected to Mortal Kombat 4. So yeah, I was more expecting something of a direct continuation of Mortal Kombat 9, but we shall see. I mean, I guess in terms of story it can still be good. I just can't wrap my head around it at the moment, and story is something that's always been interesting for me in terms of Mortal Kombat, and this has always been one of the standout elements of Mortal Kombat for me, that made it very different from the rest of the fighting games out there. So at the moment I'm not that much interested or invested in the story in terms of what's being revealed so far, but we shall see. I mean, when when they showed Mortal Kombat 9, there was absolutely nothing being shown or told about the actual story, and it just turned out to be great. So I have great confidence in the guys at NetherRealm Studios, so I have high hopes that the story is actually going to be a very good one and an enjoyable one. But like I said, I was expecting more of a Mortal Kombat 4 type of thing along the line. In terms of what's been shown so far, the other thing that I was expecting and was kind of a letdown for me was the graphics. The graphics sure look much better than they did, or than they do in Mortal Kombat 9. However, with the current generation of Mortal Kombat, I was expecting something more of a more graphical type of fighter that would look more realistic. I mean, as far as I know, the program, so MKX is going to be using Unreal Tournament Engine 3 as well, the same as it was used with Mortal Kombat vs. DC and MK9, and I'm not that much following the development of Unreal engines lately, but I guess Unreal Engine 3 is not the most up-to-date one, and just by looking at the footage what's been shown so far, it looks okay for a fighter. But what I always liked about the classic Mortal Kombat is that they used digitized graphics, and due to that it just looked very much lifelike. Mortal Kombat line looked pretty good, but it wasn't still realistic looking. The only character that kind of looked realistic to me in MK9 was Johnny Cage, and I think that had to do about the don't get me wrong, but it had to do with the color texture of his skin, because that just looked spot on like a real human. Everybody else looked like kind of like a G.I. Joe figure, and so yeah, I mean, that's not an issue, and this is how fighting games look like these days. But still, I'm hoping with more firepower in terms of the consoles, that sooner or later they will be able to pull off something similar in 3D that they did in 2D back then with the digitized graphics. So anyway, apart from the graphics, gameplay wise, that's really the odd thing to me, because after Mortal Kombat 9 I was not just hoping that they would go back to story wise to something around Mortal Kombat 4, but that they would also be going back in terms of gameplay mechanics and be more classic style in terms of how the actual gameplays and how the actual fight is being done. What's been shown in terms of the videos so far is that you have to do shitload of combos over and over again to kill the opponent, to beat your opponent, and all the tactics are pretty much involving using more or less combos, and not just short combos, a couple of moves, but pretty lengthy ones. And this is what I didn't really like with Mortal Kombat 9 either, because after a while it just became a combo fest. Kind of like reminded me on Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct is a cool game, but I never really got into it. I like combos, but not that much. Combos, I mean, Mortal Kombat 3 was the maximum for me that I cared about combos, and those were just usually if you had like a 5-move combination that was already a lengthy combination. And Mortal Kombat 9, you could do insane amount of moves and jugglings, and still get away with just very little damage to the opponent. And combos are problematic for me in terms of being able to play online. I think the biggest thing in terms of the older MKs is that, you know, gameplay mechanic wise it was pretty simple. Characters were sharing the same movements, and pretty much it was the special moves that set them apart. And you know, due to the way of the animation, some of the hitboxes were arranged differently from the others. So this was gone with when they entered, you know, the 3D era of Mortal Kombat after Mortal Kombat 4. I mean, Mortal Kombat 4 was still pretty much like the classic Mortal Kombat. I mean, Deadly Alliance and Armageddon pretty much, and Deception pretty much, you know, set up a whole new gameplay that didn't really appeal to me. And with MK9 they just went back a bit more to the older style with the uppercut, sweeps, sometimes even had roundhouse kicks, and then the combos, jump kicks, stuff like that. But it was still very heavily combo based. Now the footage is shown in MK10 so far. It seems to be insanely depending on combos, and that's really been annoying me. I mean, MK has sort of like become, or it looks like that it's going to become something like Tekken, just with gore added and uppercuts, and you know, the usual Mortal Kombat characters and stuff like that. I just wish that they wouldn't do that much of this whole combo thing, and would just, you know, keep it simple. I think one thing that they keep forgetting is, or seems like they are forgetting about, is that, you know, what really made Mortal Kombat great back in the days. It was graphics, gameplay, atmosphere, music, all this stuff coming together, and especially the gameplay, which was complex. But I would say that compared to other fighters, this was the it was the easiest to pick up and play. Because surely you had to, you know, learn some basic moves, but that was about it. Oh, look at that jerk. Never mind. So, with the classic Mortal Kombat, I think what it worked out really great, that at the core, gameplay was very easy and standardized. Now it seems, you know, more complex, complicated, with lots of stuff. X-rays are cool. I'm not against X-rays. I think it was a cool addition. With MKX, it just seems to be taking to a whole new level, but that's just due to graphics. And yeah, so but gameplay wise, it seems like that they are trying to shove in some new things, like, you know, you are able to, you know, jump off the edge of the screen, or pull in objects from the various stages and make them interactive. These are all things that have been tried in the past with other fighting games, and the truth is that nobody gives a shit about these things. So what matters is the core gameplay. I think, you know, you might do it once or twice, and then you will get over it and forget about it. I think by the next game, if something is going to be gone, then it's definitely going to be these things, because it has been proven in several other titles that, you know, environmental hazards and, you know, interactive stages are not that much of an addition in terms of gameplay, for me at least. But I might be wrong, so I might be, you know, one of the older generation guys who grew up with the classic Mortal Kombats, and, you know, having different type of thoughts or expectations from fighting game than like a new generation person. But for me, this isn't really important. So, I mean, if I look at the classic Mortal Kombat, I can, you know, always pick them up. Doesn't matter when, and, you know, play through it the 10,000th time, and it's gonna be still fun. I'm still gonna be enjoying it, and I'm still gonna be on the edge sometimes. So with the new game, I'm not sure about it. So in overall, I think you can guess that I'm not that much impressed or hyped up on MK10 that I was actually expecting to be originally. But we shall see. I mean, I still have high hopes for this game, but so far what's been shown, it looked cool, but it didn't really, got my attention into, oh my god, I'm going to go and pre-order right away, and I wanted to see more, especially the trailer that was put out. I think it had like a rap or a hip-hop style music under it, and that just didn't suit it for me. And I mean, all that stuff that was shown there, Sub-Zero, freezing stuff, and how they used the environment. I mean, I think everybody will get over it for like 5 minutes. So I just wish that they would somehow acknowledge or realize that what they actually have in terms of Mortal Kombat is already good, and sometimes people just want more of the same. In order to make a new game, I think you just need to expand it, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. And I mean, I can see the effort that they are really trying hard, and I think it's a credit to them, because if you look at fighting games in general, there is a huge decline. I mean, surely there's a Tekken series, Dead or Alive, more or less, Soul Calibur, but those are just casual games. Mortal Kombat has always been, the gold standard of fighting games, not just due to the mechanic, but sort of like how much they invest into the atmosphere, story-wise, and all these other important things. So I just wish that they would just relax and try to do more of the same what they had done in the past, and try to be less creative in some cases. I know that might sound odd, but that's just how I feel. The other thing I want to point at is fatalities, and fatalities have always been cool in Mortal Kombat, and they were like a real thing in terms of shock effect and new stuff being on screen in the arcades back in those days. But I think people also got over it. I mean, I'm still doing fatalities when I play the classic Mortal Kombat, but that's just for the fun of it. In terms of the new Mortal Kombat, what I see is that they hyped up the gore level almost to the maximum, or expanded it quite a bit, and almost to a level that that they are trying. What they always say is that they are trying to overdo it in a way that nobody takes it seriously. But I mean, I think it sort of has reached the point that when it comes to fatalities, although now they have all these cool technical possibilities, and don't get me wrong, if you can say those, but the fatalities in MK were pretty cool and mean. But I think there's so a level to it. I mean, you don't need to have a fatality last 10 minutes or 10 seconds, and then Kano shoots an eye beam, and I don't know what happens. He watches over through the hole of on the body of the whole of the opponent. So I mean, I think they should just keep it still in the game, keep it simple, and just make it quick. I mean, the best fatalities are just quick, mean, and they still have like shock effect. I mean, the spear slice in MK2. I mean, that's for me still the most not just brutal but coolest fatality. If you can say something, I know it sounds pretty weird, but this is just a video game, so don't get me wrong. I'm not into this stuff, but in terms of video game, it did work due to the sound and the graphics of it. So bottom line is, I think they should just, of course they should keep fatalities in. That's like a trademark of Mortal Kombat. But on the other hand, they should keep it simple as possible, and they don't need to overdo it. That's not what is gonna make the game great. And overall, I mean, I still have high hopes for the game, so I hope that they will be revealing new characters. Right now I'm pretty much about to arrive at the destination where I'm heading off, so this is going to be the end of my video, but I'll be back soon, either with some gameplays from classic Mortal Kombat or from some other classic games, or just with some thoughts or commentaries about things Mortal Kombat related or Mortal Kombat related. We shall see. So stay tuned and see you next time.